what do you want to be remembered
I
as?
just want to be remembered as a person that didn't give up.
As a father, have you learned to turn off being a businessman into when you're going home being a father?
At the end of the day, it's not your kid's fault. Whatever you're experiencing in that day, whatever trials and tribulations you're having on that day, you're going home. Don't bring it to your family.
How has your faith played into all of this? You said you were a believer of God from the beginning, from owning a boutique gym to now, and all those struggles that one goes through when you're preparing for something like this, mentally and just physically, financially, and everything. Was that something you always fell back on?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's all I really had for a long time, just because I heard 1,000 no's. When I have something that just gets into my head, it haunts me.
Oh, where the
Like it just,
every business owner's
any entrepreneur, any
toxic
business
trait.
owner, like
Nervous nosotros.
Nerviosos
Nosotros.
But I think it's all part of the game. So a Toast Light podcast, most authentic, most organic podcast out here. And we're back in one of our favorite cities, Jack.
I know. It was only a matter of time.
I
It
know.
was only a matter of time. A bit on the outskirts. We're in Chula Vista right
in
now.
Chula Vista at a phenomenal location.
Amazing. The ambiance as soon as we walked in.
I think we're not ready to work out, but today we're going to get a little backstory on how this all came to be by the one and only Alex Verdugo, baby.
thank you guys for having me. Thank you. Thank
Brother,
you for being here.
Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for having us. Please let everybody know, where are we today? What is this amazing location?
Specifically, we're in Eastlake, Chula Vista area, San Diego based, and we're at Extreme Fitness Gym. This is my new baby. We've been open at this new business model for a year next month.
A year.
And, fortunately, it's taken off for the good, and people have been very receptive to it, and, we've gotten a lot of positive feedback. So we're super excited.
What's
Amazing.
what's that one key difference that makes this location, this establishment, different from all the other local gyms around here in the area, but more importantly, your new baby?
Yeah. So, just kind of what you just said. The moment you walked in here, the energy is just different. Everybody comes in here, they have a motivated mindset. They're ready to just do their work, just get stronger in whatever method of fitness they're striving for. Everybody's just focused here, and everybody also experiences the new and the latest and greatest equipment. The number one thing people come in, our members say is that, we've seen all this equipment on Instagram, but we've never seen this in person.
That's amazing.
So, and yeah, I'm just excited to bring it to them. And we got some more machines coming, and,
Amazing. And when did that flip of a switch happen for you when you said fitness is more than just a daily routine, it's a lifestyle? It's something that I want to build on. How did that happen?
Well, I've been a trainer for about 16 years now, so it's been a little while. But who pushed me to do it were my father and my mother. They've always avidly been into fitness. My mom is an endurance athlete, so she does a lot of marathons. She pushes herself, even to this day. She just completed her first High Rocks workout. I'm not sure if you're familiar with High Rocks, but my mom's in her 60s, early 60s.
Wow, it's never too late.
Yeah, never too late. And she just, her motivation and the drive that she has is just keep bettering herself, even at that age, is very inspiring. And my dad used to be a classic bodybuilder. Yeah, so I was around the game for a long time, but I was that kid who didn't want to listen to his parents. I saw the working out. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go to the gym. This is not for me.
Yeah.
But as I got a little older, I would say, early 20s, late teens.
Okay.
Then I started striving into more of just fitness and, bodybuilding. Bodybuilding was my first love, my first passion. And then it grew into functional fitness, and then just a little bit of everything. I'm an advocate of anybody who's just trying to make themselves better and stronger in any method of fitness that they're trying to achieve.
Amazing.
Just to jump right in, what moment in your life did fitness pretty much shape your life or even just saved your life? Because I feel there's a lot of people that go into gyms that get started in this fitness industry or just fitness in general. It's because they're going through a bad moment, through a low moment. They're battling depression, anxiety, or bad breakup, it could be. Right. And they jump into this, and then they end up finding who they really are. So for you, when was that moment, if you could tell us?
Well, I mean, fitness was always something I took pride in, but I've been a trainer and a business owner for 16 years.
Yeah.
And in the middle of those 16 years, I went through a lot of trials and tribulations. There was a point to where I kind of lost myself, and I joined a business partnership in thinking that I couldn't do what I've accomplished today by myself. So I did that. The partnership went sour, and I was left without a gym and a business overnight. So that dissolved, and then I had to take my classes back to the park. It was very humbling, But during that time, once that happened, I kind of went through a depression phase, and I lost my passion for fitness, my passion for what I was doing, and it was about a good year to where I didn't know where I was going. But then as soon as I locked in, my mom got into me. My mom was like, I love you, son, but you're messing up in life. You have so much going for you. And, out of both my boys, I thought you were the one that was going to take it to a different level, And, that's a humble.
No pressure, right?
Comes at you like that. It's pretty crazy, And at that specific moment, I knew that I needed to kind of just get a grasp of, life in general, business in general. And I fell in love with fitness. And fitness is what saved me from, myself and, being in that rut during the time of my life. So, yeah.
Amazing. So during that time, because I think as a business owner, there's trials and tribulations for everybody,
Yes.
There's ups and downs, but that mental state of mind can really get to you if you're not careful, the depression and, business is going sour. What was going through your mind, and what did you tell yourself that got you through it? And maybe you could share with people who are maybe going through something similar.
There's quite a few things that kind of got me into that. My mother, and then I'm also a father. So, I didn't want my son to see me or grow up with me in that current state, So it was more of just a reality check. And I'm a firm believer of the only thing that you really have you have absolute control in life is your own body. It's not your kids. It's not anything around you. You literally only have one absolute control, and that's what you put into your body, how you take care of your body. And at the end of the day, that's what's going to guide you. And, whether you're living to your 90s or 60, So, but my kid was definitely a staple, just seeing him as he's grown up. He's 14 years old now. And now you see him in the gym, and he thinks he runs the gym. He's talking to everybody, networking, and and I love to see that because that's what I want him to. Hopefully he'll take the business from me. Once he gets to a certain age. So
Amazing.
I hear you're a big person on being disciplined, and being in the gym takes discipline, right?
Yes.
If you miss one day, people, it's okay. You miss twice, it's start of a new habit.
Yes.
So for you, how do you apply what you learned in the gym into your business? Because waking up every day, and especially how you said, when things aren't looking the brightest or not looking too good, the motivation isn't there. What do you look for? How do you get up and still show up?
Well, I have a couple thousand people depending on me every day, in this gym. So the fact that I have so many people that are invested in my business, that are cheering for Extreme Fitness Gym, at this level, not everybody may know me or know who I am. I mean, they probably see this guy in the front, just monitoring, checking. I don't really go around wearing a shirt that says I'm the owner. So, but whether they know me or not, at the end of the day, those people are counting on me to bring them the best that I can as far as in this gym and, just a service that we provide with our team members and all that. So just making sure everybody's taken care of in this gym is what kind of gets me up. Also my team, I know that we have to provide for families. All of my employees are counting on that paycheck. That they got to go home and feed their kids, feed their mother, whatever their situation is. And also that young man, that 14-year-old, he drives me, and, I want him to have the best in life. So I want him to see that his dad made it. My family really came from nothing. My mom literally came from nothing. She worked really hard to get to where she's at. Then she got into real estate. We started doing doing very well. And then, just kind of gave me the mentality of like, I got to do it better. Because if my mom could do it at this level, I need to take it up a notch.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
I mean, you walk in and I was blown away. When we walked in through those doors, I said the outside, does not compare to what's inside. But you spoke about, a big community around you. How important is it to have a good community around you building a business like this?
I'm a firm believer of law of attraction. Like you become who you surround yourself with, and every one of my team members, we all think the same. We're all just about generating good positivity, great customer service, helping people out. And I mean, I'd be lying to you if I thought that I hired everybody like that. Everybody I hired that was on point. I've had to fire some people just because they didn't fit the mix, and that's one of the hardest things to do. Being an employer. But the job needs to get done, and it's very important to me to have everybody with the same mindset of helping people, getting better, pushing the envelope, and just making sure things get done on a daily basis.
Amazing.
So.
Yeah, I know you briefly talked about like relationships, and the one thing about starting a business or getting into your own craft in whatever shape or form, the one thing people don't want to do is lose the people that they started with, or lose the people that they grew up with, or that they felt that they owed them something. Yeah. Being in business and trying to strive for a better tomorrow and become something in life, how did you see those relationships transition on? And at the end, to add to it, what do you classify as a real friend?
Are we talking about like personal relationships?
It could be
whatever you want it to be.
Okay.
Because it goes. I think it goes hand in hand.
Yes.
Friendships, personal and in business. Mm-hmm. I think specifically for everybody that watches us, it's everybody has one thing in common, and the one thing is like, I don't want to miss out on being with my friends or being with my family. Yes. And being in business, it requires you to be away for quite some time, sacrifice. Yes. And not a lot of people want to sacrifice because they're like, maybe not today. I'll do it next time. Next time never comes. Mm-hmm. So you being at the level that you are currently, I'm sure you had to endure a couple of those relationships that you had to let go, even though you didn't want to, but you kind of knew like, I don't think they can be at this next chapter with me in my life,
So during the time that I kind of went through my depression, I mean, I was into some serious partying, and I met friends or so-called friends, acquaintances that wanted to be around me all day, just for the fact that we can go get bottle service or whatever, you know what I mean? Like people just want to be around the party. Yeah. And once I knew I wanted to get, once I got locked in, those people had to go away. I had to bury myself. I literally buried myself maybe for about 12 months. Didn't really talk to anybody, didn't go out. It was kind of right after COVID, during the shutdown as we were slowly opening up. I knew I needed to revamp my business. And I just had to isolate everybody. I was a homebody at home with my son, just worked out, game planned everything. And I mean, you just got to do it because a lot of people will just be around you when you're winning. Yeah. Not everybody will be around you when, things get rough and, stuff hits the fan. Yeah. And, a lot of people will go away running like, oh, well, not many people there to help you out when you need the help. Mm-hmm. And you just got to isolate yourself, lock in, and, you will also attract the people that want to do better. Once you're locked into a certain business or a certain goal, I probably have 5 good personal friends that, like, if I were to ever get married, they will be my best men. So I don't have any plans of that right now. But
he said, but I have the groomsmen chosen.
I have the groomsmen. They're locked in. Like they know who they are.
So how do you classify a real friend, a true friend?
A true friend for me is someone that I can go without talking to for maybe 3 or 4 months. But the moment I start talking to them, or we have lunch or dinner or whatever it is, it's like we never miss time. Like we just hit it off. It's like we're brothers, or, we're just super close. Yeah. Like just because we're living our lives, we see each other again. And I know if I need something, that person will be there for me, whether it just be financial or just be, like a shoulder to cry on, or just, just a genuine person.
Yeah. So, they don't hold it over your head either for you being busy. You know what I mean?
I mean, they may give you a hard time a little bit.
Yeah. Like real friends. Like,
at the end of the day, they're still going to be there, and they see what you're building, and they're going to be supportive. And, and even personal relations, like, girlfriends. Like, if you have a girlfriend, it's hard. It's hard to balance both of those options, like having a girlfriend or having a personal relationship and a business. Like, it's super difficult. And in this day and age, the work doesn't stop. Like every day, Even if you're on vacation. If I go on vacation, I'm just like, I can't get away until I know this is done via email or via text, or if I know everything's going well. So, yeah, it's hard to separate the two.
Oh, absolutely. So in being real, would you say that you have a pretty healthy work-life balance, or do you maybe struggle taking time off? Let's say you're on vacation or vice versa.
Today,
Yes.
I am working on that. And I feel like it's being better balanced. Last year, the past 2 years, I did not. It was all work.
Really?
You know, and I actually broke up with my girlfriend as, you know, this business started, just because I felt like I couldn't do both and give her what she needed. You know, she wanted to get married and do all that. And, you know, I just told her at this time, like, I couldn't. You know, I'm not saying go break up with your girlfriend if you want a business, but you know, sometimes you got to make sacrifices in time. Like if you can't honor your commitment to somebody the way they want you or they're asking, then, you know, you just got to choose what's best for you and push past whatever you need to.
And you're gonna end up falling short somewhere.
Yeah.
Whether it's with your family, with your friends, or if you have a significant other, like you're gonna end up falling short to somebody because you have to give that amount of attention, love to the thing that you're trying to build. That is gonna feed everybody. Right? Because everybody always talks about taking care of their family, taking care of their friends, gifting them good things and living good. But if you don't have something to give, you can't take care of nobody.
Right.
So it sounds like even growing up, like your parents instilled in you, and I'm assuming your older brother or younger?
I'm the oldest brother, yeah. And I have a younger brother.
And your younger brother, discipline and accountability, and right? Because, man, your mom's doing these extreme events still to this day. So it brought
She's
something
a little crazy.
You.
No, but it get crazy.
So what's that fond memory growing up that you were like, you can talk about today and you still look back and it brings a smile to your face?
Like with my parents or just like about business?
Parents.
I mean, the best memory that I have with my mom is not really, she's actually what got me into the fitness industry and having me open my gym.
Okay.
So do you guys know what kettlebells are?
Yeah.
Yeah. So when I first started in fitness, I did my best to become a kettlebell expert. So that was the thing that I was in love with. I was using them. But before that, I was into bodybuilding. So, and, you know, my goal was to bench press 315 pounds, whatever, right? Then my mom comes home with a 12-kilogram kettlebell, which is about 26, 27 pounds. She performed what's called a kettlebell snatch. So you go from directly at the bottom to overhead, and I just looked at her. I'm like, that's a piece of cake. That's not heavy. So I was like, okay, 12 pounds. Picked it up. It was super heavy, 26 pounds. You know, I'm here a bodybuilder, and my mom's tossing up weight like crazy, so I'm just curling it. And the fact that my mom can move weight so swiftly, it just kind of was an eye-opener for me. And then that's when I got into kettlebell, and she's really just what stapled me into getting into the fitness world and the business and all that. So, but childhood memory, you know, just Pop Warner, football. My dad was a great father. You know, he was not as strong financially as my mom, but he was always there, you know, at our games, you know, just feeding us, taking us on vacation, like little trips. Yeah. You know, just making sure that my brother and I were happy, because my mom was out there, you know, doing her thing at work, and she was in the workforce. So
okay, yeah. Being in, it's because I think when you have a great upbringing, and it can be in any way, shape, or form with your parents, right? Because it could be the parent that's always there. Like for me, my mom was always there. My dad was bringing in the money, but didn't see him too much because financial. So now, as being a parent, what did that teach you? Becoming a parent and to where you're at now. Yeah. What did becoming a father teach you about yourself?
Well, right now, my biggest struggle is, you know, at that age when I didn't really see my mom a lot, you know, I kind of wonder, like, well, why is my mom not around? You know, obviously she's putting in the work and all that, and the roles have flipped. I am that person right now, you know? So, but at the same time, I'm aware of that. Yeah. And as a father, I'm really doing my best, you know, not to let work take me away from my son so much. Yeah. You know, like, time flies super fast.
1,000%.
You know? Yesterday he was 5 years old, and now today he's 14 years old. You know, so just the thorough memories of just being with him, and I want him to know that I love him so much, and he's the most important thing to me in the world. I I just bring him around me all the time. You come into my gym in the afternoon, he is here after school, either working out with the youth camp or cleaning, he's helping out, or just hanging out in my office, or just greeting people. He's my best customer service person, so, and he's super cheerful. Just having him around me all the time is a blessing, because not many people who, work 14-hour shifts on a daily can bring their child with them.
No.
But luckily I have that luxury, and he is with me, 80% of the time as far as being in the gym.
Amazing.
So, yeah.
Amazing. Is there something that you'd like to instill in him, having him around you and having him watch you do all these things? Is there something that maybe down the line he can say, oh, my dad was this?
I want him to know that I always love him, and the mistake that I'm trying to correct right now is that I gave him a little too much. I kind of spoiled him, his mom and I are not together. Mm-hmm. So I kind of felt the need, well, let me just shower you with gifts, because that's how I'm going to show him my love. So at this point, now that he's 14, I'm doing my best to be a little more strict. I'm making him earn his keep, or, trying to, create deeds or whatnot, because life is not easy. As we all know, we age, myself, I grew up in my brother and I were very spoiled. So, my parents did their best to give us everything that we needed. They weren't rich by all means, but, they did their best to flourish us with everything they could. And I want my son to know that, life is not as easy as it looks, These Hollywood horror VIP guest passes, cost money, or these special edition haunted houses cost money. All these scooters, high performance scooters, cost money. And I just want him to have the value of my dad works so hard, and I want him to be that for his kids as he grows older. Make sure your kids are taken care of, but also know where that came from. You worked really hard, and you were very honest about what you made, and just take care of people around you. And he's super sweet. He's 14 years old, but he's just a great kid. So a great kid to be around.
It's always amazing to hear that a parent that is trying to strive for more is still working to be there. And I think the only fault that we have is how you said, there's just not enough time of the day, but you make the time. And as much as tired as you are, as stressed as you are, as whatever you're feeling, you still have to show up and be a dad.
Yes.
That's the one thing that not a lot of people talk about, where it could be your business is falling down to ashes.
Yeah.
And the one thing that it's not going to change is the way your son or your daughter's going to be looking at you, and what they think about you, right? So it's about showing up and providing. I mean, you still have to be the man of the house, and you still have to teach them right from wrong. And I think being in the gym and playing sports, it's something that teaches kids the right things, right? Every time I talk about my upbringing and the way I am now, it's because, man, when I played sports, I had great coaches that were in front of me that taught me right from wrong, and how to wake up at 5 a.m. and go to work and, do stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So for you, you said you were in the bodybuilding industry, and you created an amazing facility. How do you feel fitness now has changed compared to where it was, say 10 years ago?
That's a good one.
Because it's changed. 100% it has changed.
It definitely is. I mean, just even the clothing, back then we were into stringers and, showing muscles and, the tighter clothing and all that. And now you see, in this modern age, you see a lot of the dark, long shirts, just more of a darker looking, and what kids wear, what people wear. But just fitness in general, I think back then it was a little more natural. Now people are kind of going into a little super heavy into, performance drugs and all this stuff. And I feel like it's kind of losing its substance. You know what I mean? The whole bodybuilding issue is, in my opinion, it's not really just to be super big or how big you can build your body and, how crazy you could look. There was beauty back then, even maybe 15, 20 years ago. The bodies type that you try to achieve were, more just natural, just natural lean muscle. I mean, I'm sure they use performance drugs, like, performance enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
But it was just more of a natural look, not a dry look, not aesthetic. Like, it was more natural aesthetics. Like, if you look at Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, I'm sure he was on some performance enhancing drugs, but his skin was smooth. It was more like, okay, that was a great physique, as opposed to whoever is Mr. Olympia today. Like, it just looks a little off.
Yeah.
So I just think people take it too far.
I think that also people, they get so easily influenced that, this Mr. Olympia that has been working out for the last 10, 15 years, and they want to achieve that within the next year to 2 years. And in a simple way, they didn't pay their dues, right? They're not in the gym.
People always want a shortcut.
Quick answers. Yes, quick results.
Give me Ozempic. I got this.
Anything. I mean,
that had its crutch too. I've heard a lot of that.
Well, it's just in the society that we live now, everything's so fast, right? You get anything you want, it's at the tip of your fingers on your phone or anything like that. And I think, you as a trainer probably have seen, I want to look like this in 2 weeks, I need to shed 10 pounds. But when you walk into a place like this, how much is it actual physical and how much is actual mental to get through a workout, to push yourself?
Even to show up.
Me personally or just people in general?
I'm sorry?
Me personally or people in general?
I'd like both. You as a trainer, what do you tell the people?
Well, for the people in general, at this caliber of a gym, people already really kind of come in to do the work. We do get the people. So we're a little bit more of a higher tier price base. And the reason why I kept it that way is to eliminate, people who are just sitting on their phone at the machines and, who are just kind of half-assing it. We bring in a crowd that, people come in here and they're serious about what they do. But at the same time, having our daily life, we're working, anywhere between 8 to 14 hours a day. We are parents, we are all that. So some people do need a push, but just being in an atmosphere where other people have the same lifestyle as you, as far as like, their mom and dad, they're working the full time. And the fact that they're all pushing together is just motivation enough. I can't really say that, what I do in particular is the answer. It's just the community that everybody pushes each other and the community that we've created here.
Yeah. I think when you're around people that work hard and strive for more, they don't really care how much you worked or how much you've done throughout the day. They just care, are you showing up?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. Well, you fucked up. Are you showing it? Yeah. Fuck it, let's run it.
Yeah.
Right? Because
like, what are you hitting today? Oh, let's do this. Let's go the extra rep. Let's push past this extra squat, so it's just like that. Yeah.
I think where so many people are just worried about what others think and what others may say about them that they're just like, no, and it holds a lot of people back, right? Like, that's one thing that I also had to like kind of flip the switch of like, reality, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah.
No matter what you do in work, no matter what you're going through, no matter how you're feeling, are you showing up? Good. Right. Are you not? Then if you're not, then that's on you. But you can't blame anybody else. And I think that's why being in the gym and focusing on that, it's like, it's you versus you. Yes. You can't count on nobody else. You can't make somebody else carry your own weight. You can't depend on anybody in there. Yeah, you can have a gym buddy, but what if that gym buddy says no today?
Yeah.
Right.
And you have to go and hit. Or you're going through the worst time of your life, and you're like, the only place I can get better is in the gym.
Sometimes this is all we have as an escape. So, I mean, for me personally, life is crazy. Life is chaotic at times, but that 45 minutes to 90 minutes of whatever I'm doing that day, my headphones are on, and I'm just in my zone. Whether I'm thinking about everything or nothing, I'm still getting the work done, and that's my own quality time.
Yeah.
Like, we all have our outlet, and thankfully fitness is mine. Working out is my outlet, or it could just be driving in your car, but for the most part, everybody who walks in here, like, you can just tell that they're zoned in. There are no, even though everybody has 100 problems, those 100 problems are not counting in that 30-minute workout or 45-minute workout. It's all about how can I make myself better, or how can I just push through, whether the workout is the best workout ever or it's the most horrible workout ever. You got in here and you checked in. That's it. And that's called discipline. and that's what we need in life. And that's why people who work out here, whatever they've made it in their life, they're there because of their discipline.
Yeah.
So they've achieved everything because of their discipline.
Even though you're feeling like shit, you're feeling horrible, but maybe your team needed you to show up today because they needed that extra motivation of like, yo, like if he still showed up and he's going through X, Y, and Z, I get to fucking show up.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's what it is. Like, we all go through our own shit, our own struggles. We all go through our emotions, and I'm just like, we got to go.
A little quick story on that. So about showing up and, your people, your team needing you. So last Thursday, it's been a little warm here in San Diego.
Yeah.
And we had the AC on. And basically our AC broke from the ceiling. God. And our roof is super massive, right? Like our ceiling is super massive. There was a tremendous amount of water just coming down, leaking in the middle of the gym, right? And so that happened about 4:30 p.m. HVAC people, they don't open until 8 a.m. the next morning. So we're trying to control this throughout the afternoon. We close at 10 p.m. We had buckets of trash bins. The water was going in there, just basically, it was pouring.
Yeah.
So everybody went to bed. At the end of the day, who's going to be there trying to clean up the water, right? I timed the interval. I was like, it's going to take 3 hours to fill up this bin. So I had 3 hours. I went to sleep at around 11 p.m.
Yeah.
Had 3 hours of sleep, and I came back at 2 in the morning. I was over here scrubbing just because I knew we had to be open at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And my morning crew, they come in, they're like, what the hell, Alex? Why are you here? You're really doing it? They thought they were going to walk into a flood.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like, I'm going to do it just because I know my team needs me.
Yeah.
It's my responsibility. I'm the owner. Like, I'm going to make sure that the people that enter in this gym are not walking into a flood. You're going to walk into a full gym. Even though we're having a serious issue, I can't let that ruin everybody who's coming. Like, all of my clients, I cannot let it ruin my team. I don't want them to have a bad day. I just want us to have a fully functioning business and carry on.
And
Amazing.
I think that also goes to, like, it helps you, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm definitely the same. I don't give them any, like, sort of responsibilities when things that I know I can get done. Yeah. Because I always tell us, like, at the end of the day, like, I don't want to be mad at you. I want to be mad at myself if I didn't get it done. And if if it didn't work because I did something wrong or I messed up somewhere, then that's on me. Yeah. It's not up to you guys. It's you guys show up the way you need to. I'll show up in the way I need to. But at the end of the day, like, I don't want to blame anybody for this not working out or this not happening. Yeah. And because I'm like, I know how we can all get when you're under stress. It can bleed off into other people, whether it's your team, whether it's your family, or even your kids. Yes. So as a father, have you learned to turn off being a businessman into when you're going home being a father? Yes. Or was that something you kind of had to dingle here and there or learning the hard way?
Well, that's a good point that I wanted to bring across is that at the end of the day, it's not your kid's fault. Whatever you're experiencing in that day, whatever trials and tribulations you're having on that day, you're going home, don't bring it to your family, especially your son or your daughter. The biggest thing that my son is in right now, he wants to watch these little YouTube clips. And he'd be like, Dad, I want you to check out this YouTube clip. Even though I don't really care about what's on there, you know what I mean? Like, I cannot react. I cannot be mad that my son wants to show me a video. Yeah. He wants to share whatever his passion is. And as a parent, we got to recognize that because I could easily be like, Alex, no, leave me alone. I don't want to talk right now. Daddy's had a long day, whatever, you know what I mean? But no, like, you're not going to have that forever. Yeah. Cherish it. Whether it's a Ninja Turtle or whatever it is, like, watch that 3-minute video with your kid. Yeah. It's just 3 minutes and you're fulfilling, their happiness. You're creating a memory, whether you think it's a memory or not. Like, you're going to go back to that and be like, you know what? I always made the time, whether it was a 3-minute interval, to watch that video with my kid. Yeah. Or, learn about his passion or learn about what they're into or, and just you were there for that split second.
And you want your kid to be happy to come to you for things.
Yeah.
And not look at you in the monster the way, like, I can't tell dad this or I can't tell mom this. Like, because they feel everything that you're feeling. If you're having a bad day, it's going to transpire into them. And they're coming to you in the way I like to think, because I have my 2 little babies, and they're learning as they grow up, and I still surprise myself, like, damn, like, you're learning so much so fast. And, like, the one thing I came to conclusion is, like, man, they look at you as a superhero. the
Yes.
person that can do everything, that is showing up, the smartest person in the world, and they're coming to you for those answers.
Yes.
Like, how crazy would it be for you wanting to let them down in whatever way, shape, or form?
Right.
Like, it's just intentions, you know? So
Yeah.
I know as a parent, it's hard to show up after a long day of work and stress, but hey, like, your kids still need you. And they need the best side of you, not the ugly side of you.
And what clicked for me is that my son was like, why are you in a bad mood? And my son never says that to me. You know, the first time it happened, or what helped me recognize it, was like, my kid never said I was in a bad mood. This is the first time ever. I was like, Alex, you need to lock it up. Like, you know, like this is not, we can't push this past. Like, I need to just be there and transparent and present for my kid.
Do you feel like being a father has brought out a new side of you or a new characteristic that you didn't know before becoming a father?
Well, I would just be lost without him. You know, like, he's kept me in the right. Like, again, even though I went through my little time of depression, at the end of the day, like, I knew my fatherly duties would not go anywhere. You know, he's my happiness. He's my escape. He's everything to me. You know, just seeing him smile and seeing him be able to, you know, enjoy life the way he does, you know, brings absolute happiness to me. So he's changed everything for me.
What did you learn about your firstborn? So there was a time where we talked about it here on the podcast, and I made a statement of saying, your firstborn is your best friend. Like, that's the child that goes through everything with you, grows up with you, learns the ups and downs of life with you. And that's the person that knows you the best, because maybe when you started, you weren't the best person or the best parent, but they got to see that side as you matured into that role. Yeah. So being your firstborn, what did you learn along that side of parenthood?
I mean, honestly, he's just taught me what unconditional love is. You know, so I don't want to say I'm a selfish person, but growing up during that time when I had him, like, I never really felt love. Obviously, your parents love you, and I mean, obviously, you love your parents, but it's not going to be the same to where you feel that unconditional love. You know, like, I will do anything and everything for this kid. I will die for this kid. You know, and you know, he's the first time that I ever experienced unconditional love. Like, the moment he was born and I saw him, I was like, this is me and you. Okay. Like, I'm responsible for you, you know? So, I mean, as a parent, I'm sure you understand that with your two little ones. Like, you know, you see them, you're like, wow, like, God put you into my hands, and I'm going to do my best to, you know, make it the best life that you can possibly have. Yeah. So
I think you hit it on the nail earlier when you said it saved my life. That's the way I explained my first son. You saved my life. And then when my daughter came in, I'm like, man, you showed me the softer side. And I was like, nah, I'm going to be this tough dad. I'm going to show my
That's why I'm glad I had a son. This. Even though I'm super soft with him at times, but I can only imagine if I had a daughter, I'm sure I would melt. It would be crazy.
They rock your world, bro, right? And I think she's even more meaner than my son.
Really?
My son's a softie. Like, he's very compassionate. I'm trying to teach him about, like, how to deal with your emotions. And my daughter, she's just like, why are you crying? I'm like, fuck. I'm like, be nicer to your brother. But I learned about bringing stuff home too, because my son, one day he was just like, Dad, do you need a hug? And I'm like, yeah. He just hugs me. He's like, it's okay. You can cry.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm like, toughen up.
What I needed.
What I needed. That day worth it. Whatever you went through that day, that little hug made that day worth it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I think even now, being into, like, what we do for work, it's like, if I could do this, and I've always said it, I can't tell my kids to go and chase your dreams if dad doesn't do it. You know, because if I sit back and be like, hey, whatever you want to do in life, go ahead and do it. Yeah. What am I going to tell you? The things that I want to do, but I never achieved because I was too lazy to do it or I didn't want to lock in. Now I can be like, hey, dad did this. Dad's following his dream. Whatever you want to do, whatever your passion is, if it's soccer, if it's school, if it's something, whatever it is, you got the support. You know what I mean? So I know, and that, like I said, that all comes back from, like, being in sports, you know, and I think I was just listening to this thing the other day where it's like being in bodybuilding, you're working hard 364 days out of the year for that one moment to be crowned a champion, or however many days, but everybody knows that there's one competition throughout the year.
And that moment that you're on stage is probably about 30 seconds. Yeah. You know, so, yeah.
And if you're lucky, you might be there a little
longer. Everything you've worked for, it's, I think, 30 seconds. So it's a crazy experience. I'm not sure if you guys have ever been on a stage or not, but It's a unique experience.
Not that type of stage.
Not that
Not
type of
that
stage,
type of
but
You know, we
But
have
it's a
banda in
great
the bag. We're
It's a little different.
It's a little different,
with
but
a little tequila. I like it.
yeah, a lot of tequila.
But you're right. Everything that we worked for, even this business, before I signed the lease, I manifested it for about 2 years. I was like, I already had my business before was just personal training and group classes. I had a small gym, like a boutique gym, right?
Okay.
And then it was maybe 4,000 square feet, and it just popped into my head. I'm like, I need to do something better. Like I was doing financially okay at that time, but I need to elevate because I cannot be at the same level for any longer. Yeah. And it's not because I wasn't winning. It was just because if I don't feel like I'm achieving something or if I'm going for a goal, then I'm not good with myself.
So what was that switch? Because we talk about it when we do certain projects or take chances on certain things. We're just like, dude, we know we're good at this. We don't know if we're good at that yet, but we know if we show up the way we need to, we can make that work. Yes. So from you to grow from a 4,000 square foot place to how
29,000 square feet.
That's so much.
Yeah.
Apenas.
What is that thought process or what's that mindset? Is it the faith that you have? Is it the belief in God that you have that led you to that? Or what was something that you said, like, you know what, it's a long shot, but I know I can make it work?
I just know my work ethic, and I know if I put my mind to it, I'm going to do my best to achieve it. I put everything on the line for this, like my house, my bank accounts, like everything. Like if I fail here, I am left without nothing. Yeah. There's no second chance for me, So, I'm a firm believer of God. I knew that I was like, why not me? Yeah. Like anybody can do it. Why can't it be me? Like everybody would love to have this, magnificent gym, whatever. I was like, I deserve this and my family deserves this. And I know I can do it. If given the opportunity, I know I will do my best to make it happen and to achieve it. And if I failed, I know that I failed that, trying.
Amazing.
So that was it.
How has your faith played into all of this? You said you were a believer of God from the beginning, from owning a boutique gym to now, and all those struggles that one goes through when you're preparing for something like this, mentally and just physically, financially, and everything. Was that something you always fell back on? Yeah,
because at the end of the day, that's all I really had for a long time, just because I heard 1,000 no's. Alex, you're crazy. Alex, you can't do this. Financially, you're not strong enough. I had a boutique style gym, and we're in 2026 now. My lease was expiring in my boutique gym in December 2024, right? I spent months looking for a location, When I first approached this building in particular, they denied me. They said I wasn't strong enough. So I halted. I took the L. I took the no. Started negotiating another lease at a local area, but it wasn't this,
Yeah.
So things were going, and they told me no. They're like, at the end of the day, no, we're good. So I literally had no place to go as my lease was about to expire. I thought my gym was going to close down.
That was it. Yeah.
And I approached them, the owners of this building again, and I was like, you're still vacant? I'm still interested. Like, how can we make this work? I was like, I have to be out of my lease in less than 30 days. Let's talk. So we chatted, and it wasn't until about 2 weeks before I had to be out of my old location that they told me that they wanted me and that we're going to go through with the lease. So the moment that happened, I dropped into tears because, at the end of the day, I was only really hoping on God. I didn't have anywhere to go. I felt like I was disappointing my clients, my kid. I was like, wow, my business is really going to end here. Yeah. That's it.
After everything, this is what it's going to come down to.
So I remember that last week of the year of 2024, I just was in church and I was like, what do I do? I don't have the answers. And I can't say that I go to church like super often or as much as I should, but I was there that last weekend of the year and I was just like, I'm lost. I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And, thank God that he listened or someone listened to me and, now we're here.
Amazing.
So throughout your life, what has been the best piece of advice you've ever received?
That's a good one. The best piece of advice, it's just it doesn't cost you anything to be nice to a person. You know, a lot of people, especially in this day and age, like people don't value people anymore. Yeah. Like you guys see each other walking, you don't say good morning, or even as it comes to like holding the door for a woman or a man, you know, as you enter. Yeah. You know, just the simple things in life like count so much. And in this day and age, it's been forgotten. So what's helped me in my career is just the customer service, being super nice to people and making sure to go above and beyond just to help anyone, even if they're paying you or not. You know, like it doesn't hurt. Yeah. And that will, you know, transition to whatever it is you want in life or, you know, the people around you. Like it's law of attraction. Like be 100%. That person that is going to, you know, be genuine because you don't really find that anymore.
Yeah. Is there something throughout your journey that you look back on, you know, career-wise or father-wise, whatever you'd like, that you're like, if I would have changed this sooner, I probably would have had a better outcome or realized this sooner?
I mean, I'm 41, so obviously I would like this at 30, you know? But I feel like everything happened in its own course. Yeah. But yeah, honestly, I don't feel like I would have changed anything. There's not really one thing I would have I would have changed. Maybe just get locked in sooner. You know, like I was in our late 20s, early 30s, like I was still into having fun and, you know, wanting to be in Vegas and partying or whatever, you know. Yeah. We still have a good time. I still have a good time, but it's very balanced out now. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you just got to pick and choose the times you can have fun. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't really change anything in the course of my life. I feel like God has done everything, you know, in its own moment because the things that I did want before, I wasn't ready for. Yeah. Whether I thought I was ready or not, like the maturity level wasn't there. I probably would have just threw it away, like, you know, let it fold or whatever, you know. Yeah. So
I think nowadays too, people think it's too late to start all over.
Oh yeah,
or it's too late to start something new. Right. And we're worried so much about time that we end up not doing anything. Yeah. Right. Like people ask you and they see everything you have, the car you drive, the location you have, or just the way you live, and I'm like, man, you got lucky, you got it done, and you're just like.
Nah. Oh no, there was a lot of stress. You know, I was super scared when I got the keys to this. I'm like, okay, I have the building now. What do I do? Yeah, you know, I didn't even have this envisioned the way it is now. Like it just kind of came together because of a team and all that. So, yeah, there's no secret formula. You just got to do it.
Yeah, I think things will happen. You work so hard that people start to be mad that you're absent, but the moment you make it, it's how lucky did you get? Yeah. And it's like, no, like, I think I heard you say before that you got started around like 26 years old, right? Yes. Yeah. Into business, something like that?
I opened up my first boutique gym of 1,400 square feet at 26 years old. That was like 2010. Wow. And then a few months later, I found out I was going to be a dad. Yeah. Damn, so that was scary.
Timing.
Just opened up everything.
And dad, being a dad, I was like, oh, man. Yeah. You know, and at that time, before my son was born, I thought my life was over. I was like, I'm going to have a kid. There goes my life, all that. But he just made it that much better.
That's why I tell people the podcast is 5 years old, but my son is 6. So I started this in the first year where he was born. And I'm like, I started it at the time where everybody tells you not to chase your dream no more. Like, your life is done. Mm-hmm. Right. And I'm like, no, it's not done. Like, I got to do something now. If I don't,
it's never too late.
Yeah, because so many, it's like, no, you have your kid, you have to think bigger. I'm just like, I am thinking. But if I don't do it now, there's no way I'm going to do it at a later time where he's more aware. There's more things to be attending to, like sports and stuff like that. I'm like, then that's a point where, like, you know what, I can't be missing. But at the beginning, you're like, dude, what do I got to lose? I got nothing else going. There's not much I'm going to be losing if I lose everything. Yeah. So what's the problem now?
And you're still young enough to start it again. Even if you did lose everything tomorrow, you could still get it back. Yeah. You know, like you're still I don't know how old you are, but
I look like old as shit, but I'm 30.
No, okay, well, you look good. So, I mean, that's like I'm 41, but when I did this, I made this decision, I was 40, and I was like, you know what? I'm old enough to know what I'm doing. Yeah. But I'm also young enough to get it back if I do lose it.
So what'd you learn about time as you got older? What's the hardest lesson you learned about time?
I mean, you can never get it back. You know, time flies. Even every day is I mean, just think about how the day goes and how fast it goes throughout everything. Like everything you go through in one day, and then it just accumulates and just time flies. Like I'm 40 now. My son is 14, and I know that pretty soon he may not even want to hang out with dad. So that's why I do my best to value those moments. You know, like I want to watch that 3-minute YouTube video. So. We don't have control of it. We just got to enjoy it as much as we can and just try to balance it. Like I said, last year there was no balancing for me. Very minimal balancing, should I say.
Yeah.
But this year, I'm doing my best to prioritize myself, to be here and be present for my son and my future grandkids and all that, you know?
And
take
amazing.
care of myself. So.
I thought it was interesting when you said right now, whether you're chasing a dream, whether you're starting a business, whether you want to start a business, especially nowadays, there's a lot of risk to be taken. So what would you say to those people who are maybe going after a dream and are encountering those big risks that you come across and you're like, I don't know if I have the money, can I do it? Do I have the mental capacity? But those risks end up being the biggest payback.
Yes.
How would you approach that or give advice to those who are maybe coming across something like that?
Well, a big thing that I say is it's always a no until it's a yes, you know? There might be 5 people telling you no, but there's always going to be that one person that says yes or that will share that same idea with you. You know, don't stop. Just keep pushing. I mean, if it doesn't scare you, it's not going to be worth it. Yeah. You know, like nothing in life is easy. Thanks. You know, if you're not taking those risks and, you know, putting everything that you have down on the line, like it's not going to be worth it. And not in the sense of like, how can I put this? Not only money, like financially worth it, but just be like, knowing that I put everything on the line for that. I'm going to work that hard to make harder to make sure that it doesn't fold because I literally have everything on the line. You know, my child's livelihood, my house, my, you know, my bank account, like my credit cards, whatever it is. You just gotta don't be fearful, but also don't be dumb. Like, you know, just be smart with whatever you're investing your time and your money in. Like, don't buy a Lambo. Because that's not going to do, unless you're trying to be an Instagram influencer or whatever, then cool. It might work for 30 seconds, you know? But invest yourself and invest your money into things that are in your business, and you can never go wrong, you know? And just stay diligent. Just stay disciplined. And
you also have to be yourself. You know, it's a lot easier to be yourself than anybody else.
Absolutely.
So, you know, trying to fit into this new day and age culture of trying to look good, try to have the nicest car, the nicest clothing, travel to all these places. And it's like, bro, if you don't have it, you shouldn't be doing it. And so I always say, like, be mindful who you're around with, because if they're going to lead you to what nowhere is or somewhere where you don't want to be at, why stick there? Doesn't like, just because you grew up with them doesn't mean they should be in the next chapter of your life with you. Yeah. And some of them, when you do venture off to something you want to, some of them hold it against you, like, oh, you changed or you've been gone. It's like, but I need to, you know? So it building relationships, it could be a make it or break it into what you're doing in life, because, you know, some of your boys that you've been with for the last 20 years may not want to be in this next lock-in chapter of your life. Yeah. And you have to deal with being alone. So in your journey, how's your relationship with being alone?
I love it.
Solitude.
I've learned to love to be alone. You know, I cherish that time. So when I'm having, you know, just sitting on my couch or just relaxing, you know, staring at the ceiling, like, I appreciate that time. Just because our lives are super chaotic, so to have that downtime is amazing. Like, I've always been good with that. And there was a time where I had the FOMO, you know, like feeling of missing out. Yeah. And with all my boys going out and partying or whatever, like, hey, we're going to go to Vegas. And at that time, there was times where I couldn't afford it because I had to lock in, and I wasn't financially, you know, at the level that I should have been at that time. So I was just investing my money in dumb ways, you know, trying to buy bottle service or impress the girls in the club, which they don't even care about. You know what I mean? It's all about conversation, guys. In case you want to know, just talk to them. You know, don't invite them to the bottle.
Amen.
But the material things in life are, you know, not very important. Like, if you see someone driving a Lambo, you don't know if their credit score is like 540. You don't know if they're back on their payments 3 months. You know, like, it could be
living at mom's house.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly. You know, if you're still living at home or you can't even pay rent to your mom or whatever, like, what are you doing in life? You know, you're just trying to portray something, and you're never going to advance that way. You know, it's not till you learn how to humble yourself. is to where you're going to be able to excel and grow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
The FOMO does definitely kills a lot of people.
It does exist. It does exist. But I mean, like you said, sometimes you just have to lock in, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And get it done. So it's just.
I think we go back to the same thing of like, what are you willing to sacrifice in order to have the life that you always wanted?
Yeah.
You could sit there, dream, hope, pray, and wait for that one moment, but what if it never comes?
Yeah.
And it never comes unless you make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I know some of the things that we've done and we ventured into, it's just because we were prepared, the opportunity came, and we're ready to take it on. And our biggest theme throughout the journey was learning how to say no.
Yeah.
You know, you don't always have to be everywhere to look cool, be cool, and
Yes.
be liked by everybody. In life, you're probably gonna be disliked by more people than even like you.
Yes.
Right.
And if you're trying to impress people around your circle and that validation, sometimes it never comes, and you might get the most amount of love from the most strangest people. Like you've never met them, but they've seen you,
Right.
and they're like, "Yo, like I heard
Yes.
about this gym, or I heard about your story. I wanted to come and meet you." So it's like sometimes strangers are
The
more
strangers
supportive.
are your
Yeah.
biggest supporters sometimes. Yeah. They might not know what you're going through or who you are, but you're motivating them.
Right.
You know? It's just
Well, strangers are going to pay for your business.
that
You know,
part.
your friends are not going to come over here and be like, hey, let me sign up for this, $89
Can I
membership.
get a free
You know what I
membership,
mean?
free
Like,
discount?
oh,
free
you
day
got me,
pass?
right? Let me just walk in. And,
We're
granted,
homies, we're cool.
some friends, a lot of my good friends, I value them and all that,
Yeah.
right? But it's like, you're over there spending $40 at LA Fitness, but you can't help me out with a gym membership? Like,
So I know the
knowing-
owner. I know the owner. We're good.
ask my friend Des. They hear that like 10 times a day. Because I'm from here. I'm from Eastlake. Like, I grew up, went to Eastlake High School. This is my community. I've born and raised here. So I know a lot of people, and a lot of people know me.
Yeah.
But they also forget that this is a business. This doesn't pay for itself.
Bills need to be paid.
Light,
And
the light you can't pay with the IOUs,
no,
Right?
you can't.
Especially,
No, you
I think
can't.
that's the thing. Like, if you start a business, most people go broke because they think they owe it to everybody to give to everybody. But
Yeah.
your realest friends are gonna support you in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's like a
Yes.
simple repost, simple share, or
Yeah.
even like when she does her pop ups, like. It's not that we sit there and we're like, oh, we're nobodies. Hell no,
Yeah.
we become the salesman. We become the,
Yeah.
we
The whole
become
marketing
videographers,
team.
The whole marketing
Yeah.
team. Because it's like real friends are going to support you, but real friends are also going to tell you the truth if you're fucking up in some way, shape,
Yes.
or form.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're just your biggest bullies too. So
And it builds character. It builds character. But I think owning a business, part of it is also putting yourself out there.
Yes.
And especially in situations and just places that you're probably like, I don't really know what's going to go on. Did you ever experience that doing this and
Yeah, I mean,
just putting yourself in positions that you're just like, oh my God,
every day, even to this day, like, I put myself in positions, and the bigger you get, the more problems and the harder problems you're gonna get.
yeah,
Like
100%.
a lot of people think like, oh, Alex is winning. Yes, I'm winning, but it's a battle every day.
absolutely.
When it comes to pleasing landlords or city officials, or you're just trying to take it to a whole new level.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go for gym number 2. Nothing's set in stone yet, but I am almost there. And, people don't see that. Like, I want to bring this to life. And when I have something that just gets into my head, it haunts me.
Oh, where the,
Like,
yeah.
it just,
Every business
I think
owner's
any entrepreneur, any
toxic
business
trait.
owner, like,
It's like, I'm going to tell you 10
I'm gonna
reasons
do
why
it.
you shouldn't do it. Why don't
Yeah.
ever think of, and you're like, I'm going to tell you one.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you why you should
And
do
it doesn't
this.
leave your mind. It's
Right.
just like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to figure it out. So with that said, have you always been the type that's like, it's only plan A, there's no plan B?
yes. It's either make it or don't.
Leave
For
no
me,
room.
like, yeah. I mean, it's always good to have like a plan B for certain things, but if it's something you really want in life, I'm a firm believer of going big. As I stated here, as I showed here, I went from 4,000 square feet to 29,000 square feet, to having some kettlebells and barbells, to having the top of the line bodybuilding equipment. We have reformer Pilates in the other room. We have a posing room to which we're sitting in. We have a functional area. I have a full cardio. People don't want to see that small increase. They want you to come with a boom. My competition right now is LA Fitness. My competition right now, thankfully, is Crunch. Planet Fitness. Like, we're in a realm with the corporate gyms.
Yeah.
And how many people can say that? You know, I'm a kid from Eastlake. You know, so nobody really thought I was gonna win. They just saw me as like this casual guy, and I'm still a casual guy, but you know, I did my best to take my family and myself to a different level, and I put everything on the line. There was nothing to be sacrificed.
See you in Vegas.
See you in Vegas? Are we going to Vegas?
Yeah,
You want to go to Vegas?
get the IVs ready, bro.
I actually had one last time I was with them, so
Did you?
I had a little too much fun, so I didn't drink.
And that's okay.
Yeah,
And that's
'cause
okay.
We're supposed to be there Tuesday. We're like, let's just go Monday.
Yeah,
Let's go a day
it's
before.
exactly
Prep.
what
Yes.
So I'm like, let's go Monday, and then instead of coming, I'm like,
Just go hang out. We're not going to
We
drink
can't
that
come
much.
back the same day. But what if we just enjoy the win and we stay until Wednesday, and then we come back Wednesday, and then we can get back to life, you know? Because life is not that serious sometimes. Like it's
You
serious.
gotta take a break
It's only
sometimes.
serious until you got to get something done. The moment it gets done, breathe.
And we work well under pressure.
Yeah.
There you go. I
I,
like
think
that.
for us, I think a toxic trait, especially me that I have, is like, everything's just for a moment for me. Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy the win, and it can be good for 24 hours, and then I'm like, what's next? Like, I got to do it bigger now. We got to get to this next step. Or if a lot of people based off our, like, social media is based off of views. So in my realm, in my head, I'm like, all right, if this week we hit 5 million, how can I get a 6? How can I get a 7? How can I get this video that we dropped today to get to 100,000 by the end of today? And it's just looking at my own work. I get inspiration from others because there's always somebody doing it better than you.
Right.
And my thing isn't envy, isn't like, oh, you're driving that and like hating you. It's like, how'd you do it? Like, how'd you get it? And let me see how can I fit it into my work or just my lifestyle, you know? And I think a lot of people think it has to be one way, like specifically just one way, and everything's by luck.
Right.
And luck does have something to play into it, but it's really just your hard work and preparation, meaning
But it's
opportunity.
really not like the goal.
Nah.
It's the journey to that goal.
Yes.
You know? So
talked
once you
about
reach that goal, it's like, okay, did you enjoy your path to that goal?
Yeah.
You know? Now that we've been there, how do I want to obtain another journey to get to that next goal?
Yeah, I'm sure when you got the keys to this location, you're like, you didn't think about, oh, I got the biggest gym. You thought about, damn, look what everything I just fucking went through just to get these keys. And now the hardest thing is to come, which is creating that atmosphere.
Exactly. And you learn sometimes the best things through the journey that you're like, had I not gone through the journey, I wouldn't be prepared to what I'm about to receive.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
It's all in the journey. And that honestly, I feel like ends up being some of the best parts.
Yeah. So one of my last questions, Alex, at the end of it all, you know, God forbid anything happens to us, but I always like to think like what I want to be remembered for as. So for you, at the end of this whole journey, after your 20 locations that you'll have, after all the grandkids, your kids, what do you want to be remembered as?
I just want to be remembered as a person that didn't give up. You know, like the guy that always did his best to take it to a different level. You know, like especially for my kid, you know, I want him to know that Dad did his best to achieve whatever he could, you know, given whatever circumstance he had, and I didn't give up. I didn't take no's. Like I just always pushed the element, pushed the level, just because I knew that I deserved it, you know? And not necessarily just because I'm trying to be like, oh, I'm Alex, I deserve this.
Yeah.
It's more like I knew I deserved it because I was willing to work for it. You know, like that's what I just want people to recognize me. Like Alex is a good person. He came from humble beginnings. He's worked his ass off to get to a certain level.
Yeah.
And that's all I want. Like just people to respect the work ethic, you know, and just to know that this wasn't easy. You know, things happen to all of us. Everybody has an excuse. Everybody has a reason to why they shouldn't. Everybody wants to play it safe, you know. I had those reasons. I had that safety concerns. I had all that, but I just didn't listen. I just talked myself out of it. And, you know, people can do that too. Everybody can do that. You know, it's just how bad do you want it? And when you get it, what are you going to do with it? You know? So, yeah.
I'm really motivated right now. I don't
really
know
work
about
out.
you. I don't know about you.
Thank you guys.
Alex, our conversation has been amazing, and thank
Yes,
you
for
so much
having
for
me,
sharing.
guys.
Can you tell the people watching where they can find you and
What to expect?
what to
What's
expect
coming up?
next?
Well, as far as gyms, we're hoping to announce our second location soon, very soon, hopefully.
Hell yeah.
But you can find me Instagram. My personal page is Alex Verdugo Jr. And our business page, if you want to check out the gym and clips, everything that we offer, is Extreme Fitness CV for Chula Vista. So Extreme Fitness CV.
What do you got coming up soon in the next couple of months? Because I heard, and we've seen you do a lot of community events. You do a lot of collaborations. You offer a lot here with the gym. So is there something coming up that...
A few events to look forward to is I train. I do the strength and conditioning for professional boxers.
Okay.
Working with big names like David Benavidez.
Someone light?
Yeah.
Just a sprinkle. Just a little something.
He's an amazing person, amazing father, amazing family man, and he does destruction in that ring. So I'm looking forward to May 2nd. He's fighting on May 2nd. I will be there present with the Burger Rock team. And then we also got a fight next weekend. So I'm going to be in Vegas working with some influencers this weekend who is soon to be announced. But when I get back, we have Lazaro. He's one of my athletes. And we are fighting with Manny Pacquiao under the Manny Pacquiao card in Pachanga. So that's April 4th, Friday, April 4th.
All right,
So
guys.
maybe
You guys
April
heard
3rd,
it
yeah.
here first.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
So with Manny Pacquiao and David Benavidez, athletes are doing really good things, and I'm just thankful to be a part of it.
Hell yeah. Make
Amazing.
sure you use code ATTL when you sign up here at the gym. You get no discount. I promise you might get charged more, but make sure you come and support.
But use it.
But
you never know. And this is definitely a spot you're going to want to check out if you're in the area. And if you're not, I think it's worth
the drive.
It's worth the trip.
It's worth the
absolutely.
drive.
It's
Thank
absolutely amazing here what
very
you've
much.
done and what you've created. So congratulations.
Yes.
And I have no doubt, we have no doubt that it's
Thank you.
everything you're telling us right now is.
And thank you guys for visiting my home. I appreciate you guys.
Of course. Thank you for
man.
having us.
Make sure you guys subscribe. Make sure you share. Comment down what you think. What's your mindset? What do you need help on?
Do you guys want to see us train? Let us know. All right. We'll bring out that side.
All right, guys. See you guys next one.
Take care, guys.